Legalize it, and I will advertise it. YouTube family, sometime if them thing are never so serious, it would be funny. Seriously. You know, Jamaicans have been in the trenches for decades in terms of their involvement in the production, growing, and export of ganja. I call it weird name, because so we know it on our yard, ganja, right? And yeah, in them days, ganja illegal. You only want police catch you with a spliff tail and prison you gone. Granted, although them claims say there's some amount of legitimization of possession of a certain quantity, police still a lock up your backside down in Jamaica. Them catch you with 2 little stick of weed. But more importantly, is a development that I saw coming across my, social media pages. Man send me, in fact, man all send me some reports coming out of the island that basically states that the government of Jamaica has issued an import license to one of the players in the ganja industry down in Jamaica for import ganja out of Canada into Jamaica. Now, again, me just a get to know how me get it or how me a get back, We have been waging a war in Jamaica for try make some of this as something Jamaica can do. We have cultivate weed for the longest while, right? And we have push weed in a people back pocket, in your trousers, lining, everything, just for try capitalize on the export potential of ganja over the decades previously. In fact, when near Jamaica did start up in 1962 thereabouts, it provided a fillip, and I'm just telling you because I just the facts. Me now go around a corner. Yeah, it's illegal activity, but the bottom line is the ganja exporters used to run them weed through the airport because them days they never have a level of security where developed in subsequent years. And so people literally push some weed in them suitcase and thing. And a whole heap of people in Jamaica became very wealthy off of trafficking weed. Right? Some people who, surprisingly sit down in the seat now where them adjudicate over who for lock up because them involved in a weed production and exporting and thing, and help draft laws. Some of them are politicians, or them buy the seat them for the politician them the House of Representatives of Jamaica. It's one of the biggest hypocrisy that I've seen. And so we come forward in the 21st century, and at some point it became fashionable, if you will, for start to produce ganja for export. But guess what the man them do? Them lock out the small farmer them and the small growers out of the ganja business. And so, you get to a point where some of the biggest growers of ganja, or biggest exporters of ganja, if you will, are now people who were by, whether you want to believe it or not, who were some of policemen, police commissioner. There's at least 2 police commissioner right now in Jamaica who involved in the weed export business. Them are the same man them we used to use every opportunity them get for lock up small farmers and poor people for find them with 2 stick of weed or 2 crocus bag of weed, right? There was a time when them pulled on a Air Jamaica aircraft in a foreign there with 2,000 pounds of weed. No little common boy can't put 2,000 pounds of weed on an aircraft. And so in 2022-23, what is now happening is the man them basically form these associations for export weed for all kind of purpose. I remember when Dr. Lockhart and what his name, they developed Canasol, which was a drug that could deal with help treat glaucoma, and them had hell forget any kind of economic use of this drug coming out of Jamaica, because guess what? The big mighty American them decide say, Jamaica can't produce them thing there, and essentially what them would want to do is give them the formulation so you can make them can make the most out of the thing, you know. And so when you have people, a man like Peter Tosh and a number of reggae artists, and this is, you know, one of the things that we now own as Jamaicans is the value of our griots, the people who tell the stories of Jamaica, the Jamaican musicians who in the course of the late 1960s, all the way through the 80s and the 90s, who preach for Lego weed so that man and man can make some money off of the weed without a fair dodge from police and thing. And we now reach a stage where we have government ministers, you know, people representative, who people vote for them, and who they have subsequently decided to adjudicate for is them big neck friends. Say, come on, Hardly Lewin, as you see him there in the photograph, one of the man them who, you know, Hardly Lewin was a commissioner of police, commander, Hardly Lewin, who was the head of the Jamaica Defense Force, Coast Guard at one stage, and he became chief of staff of the Jamaica Defense Force. Subsequently, found himself in a position where he was appointed as commissioner of police. Hardly Lewin now sits as president of the Jamaica Cannabis Licensed Association. His status is Rear Admiral Hardly Lewin. And basically, he must speak for the growers. Now, I'm kind of curious as to who is a grower of ganja, because a little man round about the way I plant a little hillside of weed. Them not let him in, right? And so we reach a stage now where there's so much money, because there's a big money in the weed thing, you know. But the people in Jamaica who were part and parcel of this business of growing ganja from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, when the thing was, you know, fashionable. Now that it is economically feasible, the government lock out them people as always, only them friend them I get license for them can set up weed growing business and, you know, what you call this, cannabis cultivation for export. And then you have companies who are coming to Jamaica where process weed for re-export. And by extension, it look like weed shot in Jamaica. So essentially what the government has done, which is the most asinine decision that I have heard of for a country that, you know, have had this history. Everywhere in the world where you go, when you talk about ganja, at Jamaica first, the name come up. Because everybody know the role that Jamaica has played over the years in advocating for the freeing up of weed in Jamaica. And so right now, the government has basically issued a license to an entity in Jamaica to import weed. Now imagine, you can't even carry a stick of weed come out of Jamaica or Canada, you know. Think about that. Because you do that, a prisoner miss you in Canada and a long-term sentence you get. But our government, and it just tell you how out of touch these people are with the realities of their own existence and their history. You know, we must have some of the dunces, or is either the most criminalist, thiefiness politician, because them can only look at making decisions that is going to favor them. It is not about making decisions that is going to work in the best interest of the population of Jamaica. And so, you know, we instead of allowing small farmers to get involved in the thing, you lock out the small farmer them. If you not have a whole heap of money and a whole heap of links within the political structure, you can't grow a stick of weed in Jamaica. And now it look like weed shot, and people who down in Jamaica establish business where them a process weed and all kind of other things where them a export. You give them license for things. Think about that, you know, because if you really want to understand how politics has underdeveloped our country, this is probably one of the best example, right? Because instead of opening the door so that we can broaden the participation. What they've done clearly is to lock up the thing within a small cohort of them friend and company who them can literally now dictate how the weed thing run in Jamaica. And so if you don't have that kind of membership, that kind of connection, dog near me supper. You can imagine Hardly Lewin, see him there? Them man who used to lock up people under the police force thing, right? Them catch you with a stick of weed, prison or miss you. 18 months in the 1960s when Shearer was thing. And boy, I mean, you kind of just make you wonder what kind of country we are run, you know? Give me on feedback and what you think about what me think about this thing. Because me can't believe it. Weed. Jamaica were noted for weed all over the world. And all of a sudden, we are gay business people in Jamaica license for import weed in Jamaica. Man like all Peter Tosh supposed to turn in a real ashes and dust in him grave now a roll over. They supposed to burn him. Yeah? The man they spend them life advocate for freeing up the weed. Legalize it, as Peter Tosh said. And I will advertise it. Give me on feedback in the thing. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, yeah, invite you. You know, now is a good time. Subscribe to the channel, you know, like, share. Eh? And more importantly, would I like forget feedback in the comment section on the channel. You know. I mean same on man, Mr. B. More time.